Can you please tell me your name, your year at the university, and how you got involved with Who's Diversity?
Sure. My name is Irina Barrera, and I'm a second year in the Master's of Social Work program at the University of Minnesota. And I got involved with Who's Diversity, I want to say a year. So we did an action last February, and I was pretty active the 6 months prior to the action in February.
Okay. So what role did you play at Who's Diversity? And what roles, if you do continue to be a part of Who's Diversity, what goals do you all hope to accomplish?
Within Who's Diversity, we don't really have a hierarchy, so it was really just coming to the meetings, organizing together, and different things that I guess I took the lead on. Just we all shift taking notes, also just helping with any literature that we wanted to bring to. A lot of my organizing was around the action that happened in February, so it was putting together literature, it was printing, it was organizing and making sure that we were being safe. Yeah.
What action is that?
We did a sit-in, and we took over the president's office at the University of Minnesota at Morrill Hall.
Okay. So why did you take over the president's office?
So about a year and a half ago, or about a year before February, President Kaler had promised to meet the demands that were given a year prior, and because he didn't meet those demands, an action had to be taken because we kept getting promises. We had gone to meetings with administrators, with Dean Coleman, key figures that we felt like would have a say in the demands that we wanted to meet, and change wasn't happening. And so this action was a push forward.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about those demands that Who's Diversity wanted?
Sure.
And how you all came together. Who is Who's Diversity? What makes up the body of Who's Diversity?
Right. The demands were actually created by various students in the student body. Who's Diversity hosted multiple events that brought students of color, undergraduate students of color, graduate students of color, and we shared testimonies, we collected concerns, changes that students wanted to see, and then a list of demands was created. And so the list of demands is pretty lengthy and actually can be found on our blog. It's whosdiversity.weebly.com, I think. Yeah, something like that. You can look it up on Google, but it's pretty complex, but a brief summary of it is we wanted more faculty of color to be recruited and retained in the university. We wanted more students of color to be recruited and retained that matched the amount of folks of color in the community. We felt like the university needed to be an open and safe space for all communities of color, and that meant taking away for example, there's the crime alerts was an example of that. Other things that we did was around mental health, so more therapists of color, more than just we can only see a therapist once a month for 12 months. That's what's covered in the health insurance, and we are pushing for more. So a lot of accessibility, a lot of different things that we feel would create a university that didn't just add students of color into the mix, but really we would be part of the university as a whole. Okay,
so you talked a little bit about the crime alerts. So tell us, what were your concerns around the crime alerts, and what kind of role they play at the university?
So there's an overwhelmingly amount of white students who are at the University of Minnesota, and the crime alerts that I get blasted with usually involve very vague descriptors that are like black man between the heights of 5'5" and 6'1", wearing gray pullover in the area of West Bank. And to me, it's like there's already men of color are already highly criminalized. and already feel alienated on campus as is. And then you have this descriptor that pretty much describes every black male that is probably attending the University of Minnesota. And then you're just criminalizing them even more. And just recently I got an email for crime alerts. And it had pictures of the person who, it was like an armed robbery. They stole someone's cell phone. And it was pictures, and the pictures are really blurry, and they were like up high at an awkward angle. And all you see is, you don't even see their face. It just looks like you can make out that it's a black man. You can't tell how high they are. Their clothes are really plain. And it's like, to me, there was no reason to post that. You cannot get, if I saw him, I wouldn't know it was him. And so I just feel like it just hyper criminalizes men of color and is doing more damage than good on campus.
Okay, so you mentioned your concerns of criminalizing people of color on campus.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the ways in which you think that Who's Diversity can address those, and also if you think that it continues to be a problem?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Who's Diversity brought in some folks who were already organizing around it. And I only know individuals. I don't know if they were part of any particular group. It was just students who were mostly men of color who were concerned in organizing around it and getting people to sign petitions. Who's Diversity, I guess ways to address it is the person who's in charge of the crime alerts. I forget her name. I try not to remember it. But
okay.
What is her name? I don't remember her name. But I could probably look it up. Pam Wheelock or something like that. But she's in charge of, like, she's the person that you would address to do actions or and different ways that Who's Diversity. A lot of the members, some of us are unable to organize at the time because of school, because of personal stuff. But we want to fund student activists who want to take action like that and who are willing to go out there and find out who's in charge of this and to make changes. And so that's a way.
Okay, thank you so much.